Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Battle Through the Heavens Part 182 based on novel. So let's start. Spacetown was not very large. It was only comprised of a couple of intersecting ancient streets, and there were many people in this small town. Moreover, all of them were extremely powerful individuals. They were all top-tier experts in the outside world, while they were simply common and ordinary here. Xiao Yan and the two others followed Yao Lao as they wandered across a couple of ancient streets. They did not stop along the way because of the dazzling items on both sides. They hurried to their destination before finally stopping at the end of a street. Their destination was on the edge of Space Town. The surroundings had become quite empty, and it was no longer as noisy as before. An ancient building stood at this spot as an extremely old feeling spread from it. It was as though it had been standing there forever, causing one to be afraid of slighting it. There were two expressionless old men in grey robes standing outside of the building. The two of them stood without moving, appearing just like statues. However, there was still a powerful do-chi fluctuation vaguely spreading around their bodies, causing one's heart to feel awed. Just these two door guards alone had reached the level of 6-star dozuns. An expert of such a level would be treated as a VIP even in the profound sky sect or the current falling star pavilion. From this, one could tell the high standards of this spatial trade fair. This ancient treasure pavilion is not a place that anyone can just enter. One must obtain an invitation from the three great sects in order to enter. Obtaining this invitation is not as easy as one might imagine. Yao Lao smiled. Unless one was an expert or faction that was worthy of being trusted by the three great sects organizing the spatial trade fair, one would not be able to obtain this invitation. Yao Lao could be considered an old patron. Naturally, it was not too difficult for him to obtain an invitation. Xiao Yan's trio nodded slightly. Not just anyone could come here. Yao Lao walked toward the door after his word sounded. He flicked his finger and a red glow shot out of his sleeve and headed toward the two old men. One of the old men grabbed it, and the red glow turned into a bright red invitation card. Welcome. The expressionless old men revealed a change when they received the red light. Their turbid eyes glanced at Yao Lao's group before bowing. One of them waved his sleeve and 4 black lights shot toward Xiao Yan's group. After which, the light remained suspended in front of them. The lights were surprisingly dark black dupengs. Most who enter this place hide their identities. After all, one does not display one's wealth. These dupengs are specially made by the three great sect. It can prevent others from probing. Yao Lao smiled as he explained. He immediately put on the dopeng, which hid his entire body. Xiao Yan's group also put them on. Let's go, Yao Lao smiled. After which, he led the way into the pavilion that was filled with an ancient aura. Xiao Yan's group followed close behind. Xiao Yan's eyes swept around when their footsteps entered this ancient pavilion. The building was dimly lit and appeared ordinary. There was nothing special to it, nor was there any feeling of treasure. For guests, please follow me. A grey-robed old man quickly walked over while Xiao Yan was observing his surroundings. He softly informed them before walking to the deepest part of the dim building. Yao Lao did not say anything as he followed. He was very familiar with his surroundings. The trio behind him quickly followed. The group walked through some corridors of the building for a couple of minutes. Finally, they stopped in front of a large bronze door. That old man also paused his footsteps and cupped his hands to Yao Lao. He did not say anything unnecessary as he quietly left. This is our destination, Yao Lao softly stated. After which, he slowly pushed open the ancient bronze door. A faint light shot out from within, but Yao Lao did not dodge it. Instead, he took a step and walked in. Xiao Yan's trio followed him through the bronze door. Xiao Yan's eyes were narrowed, and after the intense light disappeared, an ancient hall that was half the size of a stadium appeared in front of their eyes. The interior of the ancient hall was filled with many stone chairs. At this moment, many figures were already seated, and these people's faces were also hidden by a black dopeng like Xiao Yan's group. No one could tell the other party's identity. The entrance of Xiao Yan's group attracted some scanning eyes, but these eyes quickly shifted away. Xiao Yang still sensed some eyes secretly scanning over them. It seemed that they were planning to discover their identities through an opening. Yao Lao did not respond to these inquisitive gazes. He walked to a slightly more deserted spot and sat in a chair. He waved his sleeve and the surrounding space became distorted. There are many experts present. We must be careful. Otherwise, our conversations can be discovered by them, Yao Lao faintly explained. Xiao Yang nodded when he heard this. His eyes swept around him. He discovered quite a number of spatial traces in some other spots. Clearly, the others present were quite cautious. Let's quietly wait first. The transactions in this place will likely begin very soon, Yao Lao softly spoke before becoming quiet. Xiao Yang could sense that Yao Lao seemed to be slowly scanning the hall at this moment. It seemed that he wanted to discover these people's backgrounds. Xiao Yang was naturally unable to help Yao Lao much when it came to such probing. With his 8-star Dozun strength, he might be considered extremely strong in the outside world, but there was at least 10 people in this room that could surpass him. Plus he was naturally too lazy to scan the room. Otherwise, he might end up attracting some unnecessary trouble. While Yao Lao probed, the rest remained silent as 2 hours quietly passed. Some figures wearing black dupengs entered the hall during these 2 hours. A rough glance revealed that there were over 100 people present. Yao Lao by the side softly sighed while Xiao Yang was waiting with boredom. Only then did Xiao Yang turn his head and softly inquire, "Have you managed to find anything?" "Ha ha, there have been some gains. It seems that some familiar people have come," Yao Lao smiled, but he did not reveal who these familiar people were, so Xiao Yang could only helplessly shake his head. Clang! A clear gong sound suddenly appeared in this quiet ancient hall while Xiao Yang was feeling helpless, and a white-haired, white-bearded old man, who looked like a dying man, slowly appeared in front of everyone's eyes from distorted space. Xiao Yang knit his brows under the doping when he discovered the white-haired old man. Based on his senses, this half-dead old man was quite frightening. The strange fluctuation that only an elite Dosheng possessed vaguely appeared around him. 9 change peak Dozun, huh? Xiao Yang muttered to himself. This white-haired old man likely had half a foot in the Bansheng class. If the Do Chi within his body was suppressed once more, it would undergo a transformation that would allow him to advance to a Bansheng. This is the mountain chief of the Reflecting Treasure Mountain, Old Man Bao Shan. He has seen an unimaginable number of treasures in his lifetime and has extremely sharp eyes. When I first met him back then, he was already a renowned expert across the Central Plains. The current him has already become a 9 change peak Dozun. He is only a short distance from a Bansheng. Yao Lao's soft voice was transmitted into the ears of Xiao Yang's trio. 9 change peak Dozun. Kaylin and the little fairy doctor revealed grave expressions on their faces when they heard these words, especially Cai Lin. Her heart was a little shaken. The Central Plains were indeed worthy of being the area with the highest standard in the Dochi continent. If such an expert came to the northwestern part of the continent, that expert would definitely be at the top, but he had appeared to host the trade fair. Of course, this was not an ordinary trade fair. Ha ha, it is another spatial trade fair. How is everyone doing? That old man Bao Shan swept his eyes over the large hall. His elderly voice echoed beside everyone's ears, but no one present responded to his greeting. The atmosphere of the hall was still strangely quiet. Old man Bao Shan was also unconcerned with this response. It was not the first time he had experienced this. He waved his sleeve and the space around him slowly became distorted. It seemed like a spatial prison had surrounded old man Bao Shan. The old rules still apply. Everyone should not mind it too much. Old man Bao Shan smiled after doing this. After which, he stood on the auction stage in front, let out a cough, and said, "Almost everyone is here. In that case, I shall not say anything unnecessary. Let's begin this trade fair." After the final sentence of old man Bao Shan sounded, all the gazes within the large hall immediately gathered on him. There was some anticipation and excitement vaguely present. Everyone knew that the things offered at this trade fair were not ordinary. Next, we will begin auctioning the first object of this spatial trade fair. Old man Bao Shan's hand rubbed the empty space in front of him from within his distorted spatial wall. A pair of dense white bone wings appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The faint sound of wind lightning was emitted from the ancient wings. Demon phoenix wings? Xiao Yan was startled when he saw this pair of familiar bone wings. His expression immediately became a little strange. He had always heard that the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe greatly valued the corpses and bloodline of their tribe members. Anyone who dared to take a corpse would be surrounded and attacked by the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Hence, he had always been afraid about revealing the Heaven Phoenix wings on him. Unexpectedly, the first item to be sold in this spatial trade fair were these wings. Looks like the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe has met with many sneak attacks, but it is expected. The Heaven Demon Phoenix's body is full of treasures. It is not strange for someone to target them, Xiao Yan gloated within his heart. He was also clearly aware that the only auction hall that dared to deal with the Demon Phoenix wings was only this spatial trade fair. Demon Phoenix wings, the wings of a Heaven Demon Phoenix. Everyone present should be aware of how rare they are. If they are refined into a flying dough skill, no one of the same level would be able to catch up to you in terms of speed. It is a must-have to kill others or flee. Old man Bao Shan smiled as he spoke. His words clearly indicated that he was not afraid of offending the Heaven Demon Phoenix. The owner of these Demon Phoenix wings wishes to exchange them for a Tier 8 medicinal pill that has experienced a 4-colored pill lightning. After our evaluation, the Demon Phoenix wings are worth this much. Hence, anyone who is interested can begin bidding. The large hall once again descended into silence after old man Bao Shan's words sounded. Xiao Yan crossed his hands in front of his chest. He leaned his body against the backrest and watched everyone with great interest. He was already in possession of a pair of Demon Phoenix wings and naturally understood the benefits. By relying on them, Xiao Yan had escaped from the hands of people far stronger than him many times. However, since Xiao Yan already possessed them, he would not place his attention on them. The large hall was completely silent. No one spoke, but old man Bao Shan was not anxious. His face was still full of smiles. This silence continued for around 5 minutes before a hoarse voice finally said, "I want it." Xiao Yan's eyes looked in the direction of where the voice had originated. He saw a human figure in a dope and randomly toss a jade bottle toward old man Bao Shan. Old man Bao Shan received the jade bottle. He opened it and took a glance before smiling. His eyes looked around him and asked, "Is there anyone willing to offer a higher price than this?" The surroundings were completely silent. This did not surprise old man Bao Shan. The original owner of these Demon Phoenix wings was a 6-star Dozun. It was not bad that it could be exchanged for a 4-color pill lightning Tier 8 medicinal pill. No one would compete for it with a higher price since it was not worth it. Old man Bao Shan smiled when he saw no one open their mouths. With a flick of his finger, the Demon Phoenix wings in front of him flew to the person who had offered the bid. The bidder grabbed the wings and stuffed them into his storage ring. This transaction was very simple. Both parties would exchange goods at the same time since the things they were exchanging for were all extremely expensive. This place is different than an ordinary auction. Unless there is a special reason, most people will choose to give up when the things that they fork out far surpass the things that they wish to buy. After all, the people here are not some suckers, Yao Lao softly explained. Xiao Yang nodded. It was likely that one could find dozens of people here who could take out something that surpassed a 4-colored pill lightning Tier 8 medicinal pill. However, only one person had offered the bid earlier. It was partially because the allure of this Demon Phoenix wings was insufficient, but it also indicated the calmness of these people. Ha ha, the second item that we will be auctioning today. Old man Bao Shan smiled after having successfully completed the first transaction. Another object once again flashed and appeared in front of him. Surprisingly, it was a pale golden scroll. King Kong Glass Body, Tien Class Low-Level Dough Skill. This dough skill was created by Saint Liu Li 1,000 years ago. If one practices this dough skill to its peak, one's body would appear as indestructible as metal, one's punch could collapse the sky, and one's feet could crack the ground. It is a kind of powerful Do skill that combines both offense and defense together. Surprise flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes when he heard Old Man Bao Shan's introduction. This King Kong glass body seemed to be a method to train one's physical body. It was likely quite powerful in order to reach the Tien class. This Do skill's owner wishes to exchange it for a Tien class low-level water affinity Qi method. Of course, it is also alright if one takes out some medicinal pills of equal value. Old Man Bao Shan smiled as he spoke. Quite a number of people present in this large hall were quite interested in this Do skill. Hence, someone threw out a pale blue scroll after Old Man Bao Shan spoke. The scroll finally landed in Old Man Bao Shan's hands. Old Man Bao Shan received the scroll. He opened it and took a glance. After which, he lifted his head and looked around him. Before he could speak, another 2 people threw scrolls at him. Within less than 2 minutes, 4 scrolls had appeared in Old Man Bao Shan's hands. There were 4 people who were interested in this King Kong glass body. Xiao Yan involuntarily sighed in his heart as he looked at the scroll in Old Man Bao Shan's hands. The 4 scrolls were Tien class low-grade Qi methods. It had been only a short while but many Tien class Qi methods, which were extremely rare in the outside world, had appeared. This scene caused even Xiao Yan to involuntarily sigh in his heart. It was indeed the case that one came into contact with different things at a certain level. Back then, he had fought a life and death battle before he luckily managed to obtain a Tien class low-level Do skill. No one else joined the bid after 4 scrolls were thrown out. Old Man Bao Shan opened each of the 4 scrolls and carefully read through them. A moment later, he slowly shut his eyes. They were once again opened a minute later. He flicked his finger and 3 of the scrolls in his hand shot back to their owners. He laughed after the owner of the Do skill looked the offers over. A conclusion has been reached for this transaction. His sleeve was flicked as he spoke. The golden-colored Do Qi scroll in front of him flew to the back of the hall. Subsequently, it landed in the hands of a black-robed person. This scroll was put in that person's storage ring in the blink of an eye. Humph! The 3 others let out a soft displeased snort when the Qi methods they offered were not selected. Clearly, they were in a bad mood. Old Man Bao Shan acted as though he did not hear these voices. He continued to conduct the trade fair. The items that appeared during the subsequent trades became more dazzling. From Do skills to Qi methods, from medicinal pills to great natural treasures, from weapons to medicinal cauldrons, each item that was taken out would stir quite a commotion in the outside world, but they were not shocking here. Although these auctioned objects were rare, Xiao Yan did not bid for them. He did not bid for anything other than a poison book called Sky Quiet Poison Code. He had used 2 5-colored pill lightning tier 8 medicinal pills to purchase the book for the little fairy doctor. One reason why he did not bid for more items was because the items that the other party requested were quite harsh. Another reason was that he did not need these objects in his heart. The so-called Sky Quiet Poison Code had been created by an elite Dosheng called Saint Sky Quiet Poison thousands of years ago. This elite Dosheng loved to use poison throughout his life. Hence, he had left behind a scroll containing the refinement methods of various mysterious poisons. Some of the lethal poisons could cause even an elite Dozun to become miserable. Although this book possessed a great might, it required one to have researched poisons before and was rather unorthodox. Otherwise, it would not have been possible for Xiao Yan to purchase it so easily. Although Xiao Yan did not purchase anything for himself, the perplexing objects being auctioned opened Xiao Yan's eyes. Only at this moment did he understand why so many top experts rushed to this spatial trade fair. The things that were being traded here were extremely rare. As one rare object after another was successfully exchanged, the atmosphere in the large hall became much hotter. Heated eyes shot out from many dupings. They stared intently at Old Man Bao Shan in the middle of the hall. However, the thing that caused Xiao Yang to frown was that the map fragment related to the purifying demon lotus flame had yet to appear. Next, we will begin auctioning the second to last item of this trade fair. Old Man Bao Shan, who had just successfully traded an item at a high price, lifted his head and displayed an extremely happy face. He smiled and clenched his hand, and a yellowish ancient skin appeared in his hand. Xiao Yan, who was feeling a little impatient in his heart, suddenly lifted his head when this ancient skin appeared. He stared at the ancient map fragment while his breathing within the doping had become much rougher and heavier. This map was something he was very familiar with because Xiao Yan had been searching for them for over a decade. Ha ha, this is only a map fragment. There is no special energy to it. However, after studying it, we have come to the conclusion that this map fragment is related to the legendary purifying demon Lotus Flame. Old man Baoshan lifted the old skin with his hand. All the eyes within the large hall gathered on the ancient map fragment after old man Baoshan's words rang out. The purifying demon Lotus Flame was ranked third on the heavenly flame ranking. This kind of heavenly flame, which seemed to exist only in legends, was something that even someone like Yao Lao had never personally seen. Everyone present was clearly aware of the strength of the top three heavenly flames. They were a true force that could destroy the world and were already beyond the control of humans. Anyone who could obtain and control this heavenly flame would find very few opponents within the Dochi continent. This was because this heavenly flame represented an extreme destructive force. Old man Baoshan smiled when he saw the completely silent hall. He was clearly aware of the allure of the purifying demon Lotus Flame. Hence, he had left the map fragment as the second to last item before taking it out. Many fiery hot pairs of eyes within the large hall were staring at the map fragment. Those present were not ordinary people. Even the purifying demon Lotus Flame was a legendary thing to them. They had only heard of it and had never truly seen it. Of course, this did not hinder anyone from coveting it. Anything powerful would ultimately attract countless pairs of greedy eyes regardless of the danger involved. Although this map fragment was not the true purifying demon Lotus Flame, one would be able to obtain some information related to the purifying demon Lotus Flame by obtaining it. If they could obtain it, the benefits could be described as endless. Ha ha, the owner of this map fragment wishes to exchange it for some medicinal pills. Of course, the quality of the medicinal pills must be at least a 6-colored pill lightning. As for the quantity, that will depend on everyone, old man Baoshan smiled. His eyes swept over the hall before he said, "The bidding will begin now. Everyone, please offer your bids." There were many people in the large hall who were interested in this map fragment. Immediately, a hoarse elderly voice said, 3 6-colored pill lightning tier 8 medicinal pills. For 6-colored pill lightning tier 8 medicinal pills. 5. Many bids were suddenly issued from the large hall within less than 2 short minutes. The hall's atmosphere abruptly became fiery hot. The bidding price swiftly rose in front of old man Baoshan's smiling eyes. Everyone clearly understood that the map fragment was worth far more than these offers. However, if one could rely on this map fragment to find the purifying Lotus Demon Flame, this loss would not be worth mentioning. What should we do now? Xiao Yan frowned and softly asked after learning that so many people were interested. Don't be anxious, let's wait, Yao Lao shook his head as he replied. Xiao Yan could only nod his head when he heard Yao Lao's response. He forcefully calmed his heart. The frown on his brows deepened when he heard the continuously rising price. He had indeed underestimated the allure of the purifying demon Lotus Flame. Even though it was only a map fragment, it caused all these people to act crazy. The bid continued to rapidly rise amid numerous cries that refused to give in to each other. Within less than 10 minutes, the price had already risen to 9 6-colored pill lightning tier 8 medicinal pills. This bid caused even Xiao Yan's expression to become a little ugly. A bid that involved so many 6-colored pill lightning medicinal pills had exceeded his expectations. Fortunately, the current price had exceeded the point most people could accept. Hence, the number of people bidding also decreased, but everyone knew that these remaining people were truly wealthy individuals. 5 7-colored pill lightning tier 8 medicinal pills. A cold cry that contained some anger suddenly echoed after the previous bid. This price was undoubtedly high, and the large hall quickly became quieter. Many eyes followed the origin of the sound that had been transmitted, but all they saw was a figure completely covered by a black robe. 8 pills. An elderly voice suddenly sounded in a simple manner. Xiao Yan quietly sighed in his heart when he heard this voice. Yao Lao had finally begun to bid. However, Xiao Yan didn't know if Yao Lao would truly be able to obtain the map fragment. After all, the people here were not ordinary individuals. Humph! The person who had cried out the price earlier snorted when he heard Yao Lao open his mouth to make a bid. The man hesitated for a moment before he clenched his teeth and said, 1 8-colored pill lightning tier 8 medicinal pill. A low uproar appeared within the large hall after his words sounded. Many people had not expected this fellow to take out an 8-colored pill lightning medicinal pill. 3 pills. This voice was still faint, but it suppressed all the voice in the hall. Yao Lao caused that person to give up with a great unwillingness. Xiao Yan sighed in relief when that person ceased speaking. He was just about to speak when Yao Lao's voice appeared beside him. Don't be happy too soon. 5 pills. Xiao Yan's face twitched when he heard a voice filled with a cold sternness. His eyes searched for the origin of the voice that was being transmitted. He found a somewhat skinny figure seated on a stone chair. The skinny figure seemed to have sensed Xiao Yan's eyes since he suddenly turned his head. A pair of dark and stern eyes shot over like sharp arrows from under the doping, causing space itself to fluctuate. At the same time, an unusual pressure surfaced on Xiao Yan's body. Humph! Yao Lao let out a cold snort when the pressure formed around them. He randomly waved his sleeve and the invisible pressure was destroyed in an instant. What a frightening strength this person has! Xiao Yan finally recovered and was quietly stunned in his heart while Yao Lao exchanged blows with this mysterious person. Be careful. This person is an expert with half a foot in the Banshan class, Yao Lao softly mentioned. His voice gained a solemnness for the first time. Xiao Yan's expression changed upon hearing this. This spatial trade fair was indeed a place with many hidden experts. 8 pills. Yao Lao coldly cried out after speaking to Xiao Yan. At this moment, his expression had gained a tight frown. Such a price had exceeded his estimate. Ha ha, this friend has bid the price of 8 8-colored pill lightning medicinal pill. Is there anyone who is still going to bid? Old man Bao Shan smiled as he asked a question. Old man Bao Shan's words caused the large hall to become silent for a moment. Many pairs of eyes were thrown toward the skinny man, who had counterbid Yao Lao earlier. That skinny black-robed man smiled in a dark and cold manner when all these gazes swung over. He immediately opened his mouth and said, 1 9-colored pill lightning tier 8 medicinal pill. If you are able to offer a higher price, this map fragment will belong to you. This fellow is really crazy. Everyone present inhaled a gentle breath of cool air when they heard that the black-robed person was willing to take out a 9-colored pill lightning medicinal pill. They shook their heads and quietly made comments in their hearts. Xiao Yan's expression had also turned gloomy at this moment. He also possessed a 9-colored pill lightning medicinal pill in his hand. It was the pill beast that he had obtained from the Dosheng remains last time. However, his losses would be too frightening if he bid the pill beast. After all, if this pill beast was reared properly, it might even be able to advance to a tier 9 medicinal pill in the future. At that time, its value would soar by hundreds of times. Even a Dosheng class expert would be attracted by it. He would not take out a medicinal pill with such a potential no matter what. Yao Lao's finger gently pounded against the armrest. Although there was a doping covering him, Xiao Yan was aware that his face consisted of a frown at this moment. He pulled his sleeves and slowly shook his head. This was not the moment to be impulsive. Even though they were unable to use proper means to obtain this map fragment, they would still be able to use other means to do so. Yao Lao slowly spread his hand when he saw Xiao Yan. He nodded and a low voice was transmitted into Xiao Yan's ear. The price is too great, but I am already aware of that person's identity. He is an old opponent. This time around, I will coincidentally be able to resolve the conflict from back then. Given Yao Lao's character, he would not simply watch this final map fragment leave. It was just as Xiao Yan had thought. Since they were unable to obtain it through proper means, they could only use some other means. Moreover, it was not the first time that he and Xiao Yan had done this. They also had to use other means in the Black Corner region in order to obtain another map fragment. It seemed that an old show was about to repeat itself. Hee hee. That skinny black-robed person laughed in a low voice. After which, his eyes returned to Old Man Bao Shan at the middle of the hall. He waved his hand and a small snow-white rabbit appeared in it. An extremely dense pill fragrance filled the room the moment it appeared, causing the eyes of many to turn a little red. A 9-colored pill lightning medicinal pill was something that even a Banshan class expert desired. Even less needed to be said about the elite Dozuns. The skinny black-robed man rubbed this little rabbit with his hand. He also felt some pain, but he clenched his teeth the moment he thought of the purifying demon lotus flame. A glow rose from his hand that wrapped around the rabbit. After which, it was shot toward Old Man Bao Shan with lightning-like speed. While this 9-colored medicinal pill rushed across the large hall, many people felt an impulse to snatch it. However, it was fortunate that these people did not lose their reasoning. They did not do anything after struggling with the impulse in their hearts. Old Man Bao Shan beckoned with his hand and received the cluster of light. After which, he carefully examined the snow-white rabbit. He sensed the unbelievably pure energy within its body. Only then did he nod his head. His eyes contained a marvel. Clearly, he had not expected someone to take out such a medicinal pill as a bid. This friend, the transaction is complete. This map belongs to you. Old Man Bao Shan carefully stored the rabbit. His finger flicked over the ancient map fragment. The map fragment turned into a ray of light that rushed toward the skinny black-robed old man. Finally, the man grabbed it with a pleased smile on his face. Xiao Yan slowly clenched his hand when the ancient map landed in the hands of that black-robed old man. A chill flashed within his dark black eyes. He needed to obtain this purifying demon lotus flame at any cost. Hence, he had to obtain this map fragment even if this old fellow was someone who had half a foot in the Banshan class. Ha ha, the last item of our spatial trade fair is not an object but some information. Although this information will spread through the central plane soon, the information we have here should be first-hand. Old Man Bao Shan smiled after completing the ancient map transaction. His eyes scanned the hall as he said, "Relax, we will not ask for a reward for this information. However, due to it being a little shocking, we have placed it last." Everyone frowned when they heard Old Man Bao Shan's words. Everyone in the room stared at him with some doubt. Just what kind of information could Old Man Bao Shan hold with such regard? Old Man Bao Shan smiled as he sensed the many uncertain eyes. His soft voice slowly echoed through the large hall. The legendary Bodhisattva ancient tree, rumored to be able to allow one to break through the ordinary and become a Sheng, saint, has once again appeared after 10,000 years. This video will end here.